Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone's Record Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner, where we cover everything on the hardwood with the West Greene Lady Buffaloes basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Betsy Shaw. Coach, how are we doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We've got a big game to talk about. I think everybody that's watching already knows, and they're wanting us to get right to it and talk about it, but the West Greene Lady Buffaloes have beaten the South Greene Lady Rebels for the first time since 2005. It had been 20 years since West Greene had went out there and beat South Greene, and the job was done last night at South Greene. And an exciting win, of course, in a game where a streak that large is broken. You expect it to end in kind of the way it was, where you had to hold your breath until the literal last shot that went up in the air. But you win that game 50-47. Not only pick up that big win, but it's a big conference win also that snapped that streak. Just tell me all the emotions you felt last night after that game was finished.
I was glad we won. The girls were too. I couldn't talk about all the players, but it was a good win. But I was asked last night, what did you think about the win, or what? Do you think you had a chance? Every year whoever we play, I think we have a chance. And I know that's probably crazy, but I really do. I think we have a chance. One year before we played South Greene, I made a bet. I went home night before, and I made a bet with my parents how much we was going to beat them by. I bet like 10, and they bet we win. We were down 25 at halftime. I thought, this would be last bet. Every year I know but I think we have a chance against them. So I was glad to see us win, and the girls thought we did too. So it's not just me; it was them too. So.
And we talk about the players. There's so many that you could talk about. You could talk about Joey Shipley, Morgan Brown, Peyton Norton, Emily Justice, Sarah Justice. You had 4 in double figures last night, I believe. A lot of times you don't see 4 players get in double figures, and you were able to do that last night, and I think it really helped contribute to the win, because we could go back through your book and look at the last time you've had 4 in double figures. And statistically, when you do have 4 in double figures, the percentage to win is really high, and you were able to come out with that win last night with 4 in double figures. We always talk about how much team ball you all play. Some games, of course, you rely on Morgan or Joey to score whenever you're trailing from behind, because you need somebody to be able to score in those situations. But whenever you were able to sit on a lead like that and play team ball, how much comfortable were you knowing that you had 4 players that you could give the ball to last night and all 4 could score?
It helps a ton. We talk about Joey. I told you, off camera, but she tore her shoulder out of place, like with a minute, into the game. And I think it was, they'd scored several already in a short little time. And I thought, well, it's not good. And then she comes back in, and she had 17 points. I don't know how many rebounds yet, but I think it is I'd say at least 12 or more. And after that happened, to be able to come back in and do that. She did a lot of ball handling for us, too, last night. And Morgan, Morgan had 11 points, and she's just our leader out there. And I know I say that all the time, but, she continually calls. You couldn't hear much of what I said last night. It was loud. But, she continually calls stuff and gets people set up where they're supposed to be. When it said she had 11, I was like, she only had 11? At the end, they were double teaming her in the press, and, she was still able to get the ball several times to help us because, she's our leader out there. And Emily, man, she did a good job last night, too, taking care of the basketball for us. And she had some great looks. Sometimes her shot selection, I wish she'd drive more. She can drive really well. But she drove to the basket several times for us. And Peyton's been working on her shot selection, and she's a great shooter. She scored 10 points for us, too. And she did a good job, too. And Sarah come in off the bench. No, she started for us. She did a good job. She's good at defense for us. And handled the ball well last night when she got it. And Neva did a good job of handling the ball, too. So we had a couple others come in, but, everybody that was in contributed. So it was a good win, and they relied on each other. It wasn't just one person trying to do it all by themselves. Morgan feels like that probably sometimes. She's the one doing it all by herself. But, it was all of them working together out there. So.
Talking about Joey, what an incredible game. You had mentioned that she suffers a very, what you would assume is a severe injury, and she goes out there only minutes later after the injury and then plays an incredible double-double game, leads you in scoring. What a fierce effort from her to suffer an injury like that and then to go out there and snap a 20-year streak like that. It's almost speechless with how crazy that sounds whenever you say that.
She's a tough kid. She really is, and I ask a lot of her. I really do, and she has good stuff, but I think she can always do better, and I tell her. So like I ask a ton out of her, but she's a tough kid. Mm-hmm. And she went out and. I was like, well, if I find somebody else for now. And then she come back. She said, I'm ready. I said, to go back in? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I didn't expect her to get to go back in. So I was glad she got to.
I bet there's a lot of relief there.
Yeah.
Yes. You were able to breathe a little easier after that moment. But one thing with South Greene that you can always expect is you can always expect a press. As soon as the game is started, as soon as the ball tips up in the air. And you told me off camera that after that first quarter, you were able to sit back and they weren't pressing anymore, so you kind of flipped it on them, and you were able to press a little bit in the second quarter, and that helped you pull from an early first quarter deficit to, I think you took the lead going into halftime, a little slim lead going into halftime. So when did the game plan come into your mind to kind of flip that on them and turn the pressure up on them after you had trailed in the first quarter?
Earlier in the week.
Okay.
I was hoping that their main ball handlers didn't stay in the whole time, whether it be foul trouble or, they have to sub out eventually. Yeah. And I said when a certain few of them went out, that's when we were going to press, and they went out, so that's when we pressed. We were waiting on it. We just didn't know how long what quarter it would be. And, I told them ahead of time what we were going to start in. I said when they sub them out, we're going to try to press. I really do like the press. It's just it's tough to stay in a press for extended time. But then the main ball handlers come back in on their side, so we got out of the press. Played some half-court man-to-man defense. So we had worked on it and talked about it prior. I just didn't know what point it was going to happen. But I said when they go out, if they do, eventually we're going to press. So. And
then with the win, too, we could talk about how incredible it is that you snap a 20-game streak. None of your players have been alive to witness West Greene beat South Greene, and that's even crazier to say, but even crazier to say now is you now sit at a three-way tie for first place within the district now. And that's something that you look at the beginning of the year and say we want to have a shot to win the district, and to beat a team like South Greene, that's something that you have to do to be able to win the district, because you've seen how tough it is to win a district with South Greene in the same conference with you. And to be able to say that 3 games in, you hold a three-way tie for first place after the South Greene win, how good does that feel knowing that you kind of sit up at the top with Hampton and South Greene?
Well, I feel as if there's a lot of basketball left to be played.
Yes.
We have got to show up. We're not, I think we have all the pieces that we need, like right now, to be successful. I don't think if we just had one more player that could do this or this, I don't think that's the case. I think we have everything we need. We just are trying to get it put together. It depends on the game, depends on the quarter. So we have some great quarters, and all of a sudden I'm not sure what happens to us. So, if we can get us put together, I think we'll be really competitive. But there's a ton of basketball left. Like, we're tied. You said we're tied. Well, that's good. But we're
only 3 games in.
Only 3 games in, and we weren't. We should have done better against Johnson County. We had the opportunity and we didn't make free throws. So it's good that we are in the position we're in. We're not. But there's so much basketball to be played. So it's hard to. We just got to focus on one game at a time and continuing to try to get better and put all the pieces together that we need to be successful. So. And
you beat South Greene, but like you said, take it one game at a time. You move forward now into a very thick part of your schedule. You have 4 games in 5 days, Friday, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. Little time to practice in between and prepare and watch film for everybody. Before we talk about that too much, of course, we need to get a break in first, so we'll get a word from our sponsors in before we talk about those 4 games here in just a minute here on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greenville.
For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone Tracker Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner, where we cover everything on the court with the West Greene Lady Buffaloes basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Betsy Shaw. You've got a very tough road ahead of you. We alluded to it right before the break. You've got 4 games in 5 days, with the only day off being Sunday. You luckily stay in the county for every game, so you don't have to get on any long road trips, but it is going to be tiring playing at home against Chucky Doak Friday, at North Greene in Baileyton on Saturday, take off Sunday, and then play a back-to-back at home against Unaka, and then conference rival Hampton. 2 key games, of course, with Chucky Doak and Hampton here at home. Luckily, the most important out of that stretch are here at home in those 2 conference games. So I know it wasn't originally scheduled this way. That North Greene game that we had previewed last week had been moved, and I guess we hadn't announced it yet. It's been announced, but we hadn't told anybody on here. But, of course, it's moved to Saturday. But talk about this 4-game stretch coming up for you.
We're going to get to play a lot of basketball.
You are going to get to play a lot of basketball.
We're not going to have to worry about practicing a lot because we're going to be just playing.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, not much anything else. Basketball, bunch of basketball. So, be good. I mean, it's going to be tough on those girls.
Yeah.
I don't sub a ton.
Especially the teams, too. There are no pushovers.
Yeah, and they, a lot of the girls play a ton of minutes. So the good thing is, like you said, Sunday they don't have anything. We'll be off. And then Monday we don't go to school so they can sleep in. So hopefully that will help with all the games. But besides that, we're going to get to play some basketball, a bunch of it.
Got Chucky Doak Friday, of course. They're a team that they're hungry for wins in the conference also. They've slipped behind a little bit, and I think they're kind of hitting their stride right at the moment because they also beat South Greene over the Christmas break and then beat Johnson County last night. And then you've got Hampton on Tuesday, which could be a very, I don't want to say deciding game within the conference, but it potentially could be because if you were able to knock off Chucky Doak here at home on Friday and Hampton wins whoever they play on Friday, then that game will be a tiebreaker for who kind of sits and remains tied at first place with South Greene if they win, and who kind of gets knocked back to the 2 with 2 losses if you're both are able to win Friday. So don't want to talk about the scenarios too much. I like to think ahead a lot, but of course you've got 3 games before then. But with Chucky Doak and Hampton, of course, the 2 conference games, talk about how important it is to have 2 of those at home back to back.
First of all, it's Chucky Doak. I mean, but both of them's at home, so that always helps,
Yeah.
But they're tough. They play so hard and physical. I mean, they're
very deep bench too.
Yeah, you have to be sure to communicate who you guard them because they sub every about couple minutes. So it's, they play really, really hard. And so, I mean, we're excited to play them and excited they're getting to come here to play. But, same things that we've been trying to focus on, we're going to have to be sure we execute. And we'll have to play for 4 quarters, to give us a chance in the end. So I'm excited for it, get another game. Hampton, we played with them last year here for about a quarter, but we didn't do well against them last year. So I'm hoping that we can improve some stuff against them this year. We didn't take care of the ball at all against them last year. So we've been working on that, and we did better last night against South Greene, but we've still got to. That's always something to improve on. And rebounding, that's something
and
that
rebounding always too, yeah.
Always needs improvement. And so working on that and improving that each game. So.
I think if you're able to make a list of things that are most important in Hampton games, number 1 would probably always be take care of the ball, because when I think of Hampton, that is the one team I always think about that turns up the pressure and presses you all game, boys and girls.
They do.
They love to press at Hampton. They do.
Yes. They're really good at pressing. And they switch it up several times, so it makes it a little bit more challenging as well. So, yeah.
And then, of course, the 2 games in the middle with North Greene and Unaka, we've already talked about them earlier this year. You've played them. You kind of know what to expect with those games. Any little minor tweaks or adjustments that you plan on going and using in those games, or kind of the same game plans?
No, we're going to have to make – if we'd have won, then maybe we could say some things.
Understand that,
no,
yeah.
We're going to make some adjustments, change some things up. Yes.
But a tough schedule ahead now with 4 games in 5 days, at home versus Chucky Doak Friday, at North Greene Saturday, at home versus Unaka Monday, and then at home versus Hampton on Tuesday. So the next time we sit down and talk, we'll have a lot of basketball to talk about because, as you said, you're going to be playing a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
But, Coach, that's all I've got for you this week. Once again, thank you for sitting down with me, and congratulations on beating South Greene.
Thank you.
Something that hasn't been done in 20 years. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Malone Tracker Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.